man. Welcome to God's Fault. It's your boy, Nyjah, a.k.a. the Comeback King, man. We here for it. Hey, listen, I appreciate all the followers. I appreciate the subscribers, the support on all the podcast platforms. It's really crazy to see how things is growing. Hey, come join the community, join the family, subscribe to your boy, follow me on all the platforms. Links will be in the description on every video. Let's build a community of really change and influence for a more positive, place for our people and our culture, man. And let's step it up. We're going to stay fly with it. Let's not get it twisted. Ain't talking about no cornball stuff. I'm just talking about representing and getting the most out of life like God intended. So if you're on that with me, if you support the mission, join the community, like, subscribe, comment, share it with your folks. We just trying to grow. We just know we ain't trying because trying is failing. But we going to do this thing, man. We out here to represent and to live an abundant life. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what we're going to do. So appreciate y'all, everybody for tuning in, everybody for the likes and shares and the comments on all the platforms. And we here for it. We out.
What the heat did. Listen to my ghetto gospel, told you all the best was there. See the second coming or the third testament. We were at the synagogue, puffing on the peppermint, looking at the sky for the promise heaven sent. Chose to be a king, but not the one the prophets pick. So we hustle for the prophets, not the prophets look sick. Just a few bad apples blind.
Yo, what's good, man? Welcome to God's Fault with your boy, Leslee Nyjah, a.k.a. the Comeback King 77 on Instagram. Yo, what's good, people, man? We just here, man. We gonna do our thing today. It's an honor to come to you from week to week and just touching upon getting into these topics regarding, the culture and how do we elevate to become the true force that God intended us to be. So if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to God's Fault. And we here for it. You know what I mean? A lot of these topics make people uncomfortable. It's not really popular information because, everybody is addicted to comfort, especially our folks, because of the challenges and the different things that we have to face every day. The overall systematic oppression that really weighs us down, it's dangerous being, a black man in America. You know what I'm saying? So it's very alarming, the rate of, murders and death that come to us at the hands of ourselves and, the people who are in charge of governing, the nation. So it's really wild. And we really want to take a really deeper look into what's going on within our culture, where these things stem from and how they affect us, and then ways of how we can, just really redirect our energies to something more positive, and I feel like one of the biggest influences on our culture is hip hop music. A lot of people don't understand how spiritual music really is. We are very unique as a people, and music and spiritualism has always been a deep part of who we are. We are God's people for a reason. And when you don't know who you are and you don't value who you are, you lose touch of your identity. And when you don't know who you are, you definitely don't know where you're headed or where you're going, So we're really going to take a look into that and see what's the root of this and, how do we progress, moving forward. I really feel like there's a genocide on the black mind. All right. I know that sounds, really just crazy to relate genocide to it, but that's what's really happening to us as a people and as a culture. Is like a genocide where, we're dying at alarming rates. We only make up a small percentage of the nation as it is. And for us to be killing each other off or dying at the hands of others at the rate that we are, this is something that's been going on since we got here. So it's really, it's really sad to see the state of the culture, to see the state of, the YNs in our community and the things that we die for and things that we throw our lives away for, with the mass incarceration of our young black males and women. So, and the brokenness of the families and everything else. So it's really crazy. And because of, with hip hop and everything, that's probably one of the main fuels, that is driving us. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, a lot of people don't really realize this. I'm just referring to my notes over here. But back in the day, when we was brought over here in chains, we slaves in this nation, in a foreign land. The oppressors, the slave masters they focus on separating us from our identity from the jump, or they didn't want us singing. They didn't want us laughing. They didn't want us to have joy. They didn't want our essence, our spirit to thrive. They had to break our spirits. So, but one of the things that we always had was our music. It was directly related to our spirit. And that's why it's so dangerous now, is because the music that we listen to now does the total opposite for what our God-given talent was meant to do, which was to uplift, to encourage, to strengthen, to fortify ourselves, our souls, in any circumstance and situation. That's why you think about this. When you watching sports and everything, every athlete before they perform, they or when they warm it up, they got their favorite hype track on. We got hype men in the culture. This is not anything new. Before we used to go to war, before we go to battle, that's what the war cry was for. So this is all things that is embedded in us spiritually that we're literally taking for granted and allowing to be perverted to turn into something else. And then we sit back and we look at the conditions of our culture and we're like, well, why? Why is this like this? Well, when you get separated from who you really are and you devalue yourselves because you take on the mindset of the oppressors toward each other, then you have no real direction of where you're going, and you don't have any, you don't have anything solid, a solid foundation to stand on because you don't know who you are. You know what I mean? It's like building a house on sand. That's what the scriptures say. It's like building your house on sand. Who would build a house on sand? We do as a people. We literally do, because we're not building it on a foundation of who we are, because we don't know who we are. And it's been a great debate on who we are over there. There's no other nation in this world, no other group of people. We're not even considered a nation. We get washed in to say, oh, we're Americans, but yet we don't get the full benefit of being a true American because of the powers that be, who still work and operate, through the systematic racism that's already established here. So the dismantling of the system shouldn't be a shock to us. We should be embracing the dismantlement of how the structure has been, but also we got to be sharp and keen enough and aware to see what is it being restructured to. So we can't just go blindly and be like, oh, I'm going to follow this man now because he's this or that, or this president or this political party. That really doesn't benefit us totally as a whole, as a people. We have to, we really have to build each other up and become our own sense of security within the culture. And we can't do that when we're killing each other for chains or over each other's baby mamas or creating baby mamas and not creating homes. So these are the things that, that really hold us back as a nation. Like back in the day, like the spirituals, like Negro spirituals, that came about because of slavery. You know what I mean? All that, what it was like, the wade in the water, swing low, swing chariot, all this stuff. These songs we used as codes to show directions on how to escape. You know what I mean? Like, this is things that we did. We used our soul, our music, our energy towards something, and we were so brilliant that we made escape routes and patterns off of music and songs to guide us to where we want to go. And the same thing like with the blues, you know what I mean? Like when we created the blues, singing about oppression, but putting it in a way that the oppressors couldn't pick up on it. And then we did the same thing with hip hop. Hip hop was telling our stories and of where we were and our situations and how to overcome and navigate through it. And now it's been turned into something that is so just gross and just beyond anything that's edifying. That means that can build up the people, but yet destroying because it's been perverted by commercialism and profit. So that's why you have a lot of artists now, like you're always going to have willing people who, and it's not really, I can't really say, I'm not trying to blame this on the artists themselves because, everybody as an individual is in survival mode. So if you have an opportunity to create generational wealth for your family, then of course you're going to want to take it. But here's the crazy part about it. A lot of times when you're spending hundreds of thousands, millions on jewelry, on your wardrobe, that's not building generational wealth. The only thing that's doing is perpetuating a lifestyle that others aspire to, who are killing each other or going into debt trying to make themselves appear to be something that we're not. So, and then we put in false standards on each other that nobody can live up to. That causes a divide within the home between our black men and our black women. Now there's a serious gender divide where we can't show true value and appreciation of each other, number one, because we don't value ourselves enough to not be duped by the lies that's being perpetuated through the music. So, of course, this is going to be an unpopular topic. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, we don't want to face the truth about ourselves. And as individuals, we all have our own individual responsibility to be accountable to ourselves and the ones that we say we love that's around us. So that's one of the hardest things to do, is to take accountability to say, hey, you know what I mean? I got caught. You know what I mean? There's a line in one of Jay's songs when he talked about his pops, and he would literally say, hey, I can't blame you for what happened to you, homie. You got caught. I didn't know you. You got caught in the same system that I abused for my wealth. So it's a really, like, you don't know how many households, how many families, how many people who really, from our generation at least, who was outside in the 90s and everything, who were selling work, that's what we're going to call it, that was selling work to their family members or friends of their family members. We all guilty. You see what I'm saying? So where did this disconnect come at? A lot of the traditions that we call culture now, a lot of these things was bred from trauma themselves. And that's what a lot of us don't really like. Hip hop was bred out of trauma. And it evolved from all the other music forms that we created throughout the years to get to where it is today. And it's super powerful. That's why, they literally have research, like UCLA did a study on connecting violent crimes to music. You can look this up for yourself. Violent crimes to music, like after listening to music that glorify violence, you're like 64% more likely to commit a violent act or violent crime if you're living impoverished and all these different things. That's wild. That's wild. It's a direct energy. It's frequencies. Like they like the 808 now, they even did a study to show how it has a numbing effect to dull your senses. Whoa, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Because we always been a people who had rhythm and used to use the drums to different frequencies and things to get us ready for whatever that we had to face, and that's why music is so important. And hip hop, like right now, is the most important thing in the world. You got songs that you would never think make it the mainstream anything now are headlining nationwide commercials. See what I'm saying? So if the powers that be know this and they're using this to influence you, your habits, your spending, your choices, why are we, the ones who created, not wise enough to see that and turn it to be what it was meant to be for, to edify or, benefit and grow our own culture and our people? That's kind of wild. It's crazy. So even with dancing, like dancing itself, like with all the little dances and stuff that you see people do now, even on TikTok and all that, what people don't realize, these are things that, we as a Black culture has been doing forever. This is directly tied into our being and who we are. If you think about all the skills and talents that we have as a people, but we're so focused on the monetary side of it. Like even me right now, all dollars matter hoodie, you know what I mean, that I created. But it's especially my dollars, because what I do with my dollars is directly going to affect me and my family and my future family. And if I waste my dollars on things that's frivolous, on that things that's going to rust, mold, rot away, then how is that going to build legacy and perpetuate the family and grow us for years to come? All the greatest family, all the biggest brands, are family names. So, the Walmarts, all of that, those are families. But we don't see it that way. We only see that's a big box store where I get my black hair products. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Is way more than that. That's a legacy of a family of billionaires. So these are the things that we really have to really look into, and things that we really need to consider. Like, here's a good one. Soul food, right? This is how special we are as a people. We created a whole culinary phenomenon out of the scraps and garbage that we received from our slave masters. The crap that they threw away, the slop, is now celebrated in households all across America, all across cultures, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue from the scraps from their table. Now, if you can't understand that God is in there, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to be religious or whatever. I'm just telling you who we are, as a value, because I don't think, I think the reason why we make a lot of decisions that we make as a people is because we don't know who we are. We don't value ourselves. I even hate saying Black Americans or Black people. You know how many times we've been rebranded in this country? Think about this. We literally been rebranded in this country over and over. We went from, the slaves. What else? Negroes, niggers, colored, Black, African American, to now Black people. And we don't have much say so in this. I know there's groups, like the NCAA and all that, who've been fighting for people. There's been a lot of good native people, in the fight. But a lot of times corruption has caught up into all of this as well because of the human factor and comfort. So we're so caught up in having this American mindset. All we want is comfort and to consume. And it's destroying us, where we're actually creators and pioneers. But when we're chasing, comfort, satisfaction all the time, immediate gratification, and then we can't get it, think about it. You already got a mindset that's traumatized through just genetics and history alone, poverty and everything else, systematic oppression that's been get to you, and you just want a little bit of comfort. We spend so much time fighting every day trying to survive. The last thing we want to do is work harder. You know what I'm saying? It because we haven't seen the benefit from consistent hard work, which led to a direct disconnect, from where we supposed to be and who we are. So that's one of the challenges that we face as a nation and as a people. Because just think about it like this. Think of each household, right? Just think about the timeline of this. So you have a family full of slaves. A slave family, right? The oppressors are there. They're beating the father. They're violating the mother. Okay? They have children watching this. This happens over several generations. The children start to rebel. Now the parents are beating the children so they don't have to be beaten by the slave master, right? Because they know that the slave master beating is going to be worse than the beating that they would give them, because they're going to beat them with love and compassion, if there's such a thing, mercy, right? Versus the slave master beating them with malice, right? This kind of mindset goes over after generation. things are starting to change. Time is starting to change. You got traditions and cultures you got traditions of coping now to have some sort of resemblance of a good life, and then along this timeline now, slavery is ended. Okay. But we're still in segregation and fear because of the oppressors who didn't want slavery to end, and just the sheer hatred and malice was in these people's hearts and minds. Now they're terrorizing and destroying anything that this melanated family does to get ahead, because they had all the skills, they had all the knowledge, they was working for hundreds of years in a trade. They have mastery. So now that they're building out of their mastery, now you got intimidated, dull-minded individuals who in fear of losing what they thought they had, which they never really had because it was built up on the back of us. Now they're terrorizing, wearing white hoods with like the Ku Klux Klans, and now you got all this white supremacy, all this nonsense, when they don't even realize that they've been duped by the elite to think they were something more than what they are. Because let's keep it a buck, the only people that benefit from poverty is the elite. So when you have this, now these children of each generation is looking to their parents like, wait, why are we doing this? Why are you still going to this church and you praying to this white God and all this stuff and this, and they starting to do research, and now information becoming available, starting to kind of identify who they are. So we had this little small pocket of this window where the revolution was really starting to shape and take form. Then when everything got integrated, now you get to enjoy the comforts of the so-called white folk. You got the homes, you started getting nice cars, money started flowing a little bit, and it killed the revolution. And when I say revolution, I meant the independent thinking, the identifying who we are, the creative, flow of building something brand new within a climate that wasn't designed for us to flourish in. So this is like, I don't even know how to say it. This is pivotal to our survival, because now we got washed down with the Americanized mindset, and our goals and our aspirations turned into American type thinking and not God's people type thinking. And our spirits got dull. But then with the systematic oppression and everything that was going on, we still, because only a handful of people was enjoying the benefits of this. But it was just enough to start lifting these people up into the faces of those who wasn't benefit to it, to create this hope and this dream. I have a dream that we too could get to that level. But the reality was the majority of us was still impoverished in these ghettos. And we still are to this day. So what's the hope of the ghetto? Everything we create gets taken, it gets perverted. Well, isn't that what the scripture says that the devil do? Everything that, that God's people supposed to have or enjoy or grow or flourish with gets tainted. And now we're in a situation where lust, desires, justifications of trauma and everything else have us more divided now than ever before. And then with the devaluation of our identity and who we are, it makes it easy to target each other instead of to work together and build with each other. You know how hard it is, like as a content creator, or just as a Black man, to build true, meaningful brotherhoods and friendships right now? Because everybody thinks there's an ulterior motive to it. And sometimes it can be. But when you tap into what God's purpose is, for you, you can't really worry about what somebody's ulterior motives are if you're standing on principles that are solid. Because if I'm standing on principles that I know are solid, even if you have negative intentions or whatever's going on, I'm trusting in God to do what God do to you. And if I'm part of that journey for you, as far as then, you see what's really going on through me, because nobody has made it. Everybody's imperfect. But as I continue to grow and shine and do whatever, one or two things going to happen. You either gonna hate or you gonna congratulate and rock with the program. You know, but there's literally a scripture that says, man, I done put myself on the spot. It's something to the effect of, let my actions sort of like provoke you to righteousness. Like let your jealousy provoke, let people jealousy provoke them to righteousness, or something along that line. I'm sure somebody in the comments will figure it out for me right now. But basically the whole meaning of it is, if you let me doing well or good or whatever, I hope you get jealous enough that instead of you just trying to stop my flow, that it provokes you to do the same for yourself. For you to make moves, for you to change how you think, and for you to do whatever you need to do to get yourself out of the current situation that you're in. But too many times, because of the crab in the barrel mentality, we trying to pull each other down. But people always forget the main thing about crabs in the barrel is that crabs don't belong in barrels in the first place. You know what I mean? So it's so crazy that we're in this position that but we're still not taking the time to recognize that it's really the true trap. You know, this thing about even that, like the terminology and things that we use, you know, we call, you know, hustling trapping, right? Oh, I'm trapping, da, 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 da. I'm in the trap. And we don't have enough common sense. We know that it is a trap. It's not, there's only two ways out of it, death or prison. It's literally a trap. But the money is so enticing. The bait is so enticing. We're going to risk it all in the trap for a momentary gratification. You know, I think the wildest thing in the world is to be sitting in prison and you worth millions, hundreds of millions, $1 billion from lifestyle choices. Look at Lil Durk. Look at Diddy right now, right? Casanova, 2 times, all these, who Shiesty. Who else? There's so many of them locked down right now, worth mad bread, but yet they can't enjoy the benefits of that except maybe on their commissary, on their books. Like, that's crazy, bro. So what's worth more, their billions of dollars, millions of dollars, or the ability to wake up in the middle of the night and go get a cold drink when you want without some cellmate farting or taking a dump while you're trying to eat your bag of ramen noodles or your ceviche, whatever you got going on? You see what I'm saying? So we have valued outside things more than we value what really matters. And a lot of that comes from because we were targeted and taught to devalue who we were. You know, a lot of us think we're doing something, but you literally think like you're an oppressor. You have the mindset. We carrying the mindset of those who oppressed us. How are you going to benefit in the world when you don't even value who you are because you got the mindset of somebody that hates you or who fears you? You know, and of course, and hip hop is directly tied to this because there's hundreds of thousands, millions of songs and things streaming right now. And it's our individual choice of what we put into us. You know, what you feed your mind, you know, what you listen to through your ears, what you watch with your eyes. We all have our own personal responsibility to govern this and to govern this for our children. And when you're living in a situation where you don't have any followers, music was music, I was so addicted to music because, you know, in my home situation, my pops wasn't around like that because of the issues that he was dealing with. So I learned my wisdom and everything through the music mostly. My hustle, all that, through the music. Hey, he getting it, I can get it too. He ready to put in work? You know what? I'm ready to put in that work too. Because that was the thing feeding us. So when you got a bunch of group of young men without any real guidance, you know, from real men and the disconnect between child and parent, because, you know, like as parents, this is the one thing we got to realize as parents. Our children see us so clearly. They see us better than we see ourselves. Then we get frustrated off of their behavior, but they're behaving off of what we're giving them. And as when the children get older and older, that rebellious stage, that's not a new stage. That stage was already there. because it was already pivoted, because when we gave up crucial time to invest in them because we had to work to provide for them in the system that was already set up to oppress us, and then we're just trying to maintain balance for ourselves and kind of have some sort of level of comfort, rest, right? These are not unreasonable things. A lot of that comes to neglecting the children because of the way the system is set up. So when they see your way of life is not working, it didn't benefit them, they don't feel, because we don't know, or we don't teach them how to really be thankful. And if you don't value yourself or who you are, or understand who you are, that you were created in God's image, first off, and if you don't carry this wisdom within you, they're not going to carry it within them. And all they're going to see is the flaws, and all they're going to see is how you wasted your time, and they're being told that they can get to it right now, and that working or whatever, this is a sucker's bet. Hard work doesn't pay off. So, so if I can get a bag and then I can sing about my trauma and I have to now prove myself amongst those who don't value themselves anyway. Now I'm trying to prove myself to people who don't even value themselves. It's a dangerous mix. That's how you get basketball stars and straight A students killing each other in the street and dying in front of their mother. That whole Noah Scurry situation should be a real wake-up call to the Black community, or I should say the melanated community as a whole, because this is saying no matter how good you are, you still are at risk of being a total loss. No matter the grades, no matter the accolades, no matter what, you could still end up being nothing more than a murderer and a pile of flowers on a street corner somewhere. A rest in peace, where you don't really have no peace because you was in turmoil and you died in turmoil. So this is a real serious situation that a lot of us, we don't really consider what it is that we're really giving up. You know what I mean? We just don't consider it. One of the reasons too, and I just wanted to check what I was researching and looking at here. One of the reasons too, like hip hop, something that we created, has basically became weaponized against us. Like, it's being used to destroy us now. Something that we created. That's like your own child turning the gun on you after you done raised it, cultivated it, fed it, protected it, fought for it, risked your life for it. And then they just getting big enough to smack you in the face and say, I got it from here. It's so, this is such an important conversation to have within our homes, and very important conversation to reflect upon what it is that we're pumping into our minds and our bodies, because that's how we feed our souls. All this is energies. These are spirits. When you have think about how crazy it is, like our sisters, the biggest artists, are so over-sexualized, and they're capturing the minds of your daughters and your sons. So now our young women don't think they have a value unless they're promiscuous. You see what I mean? Unless they're a city girl, they're whatever, hot girl summer, all this nonsense, right? And they deserve this because they're valuable because of what they got between their legs. While the men, on the other hand, thinking, hey, I'm going to get this money because as long as I got this bread, I can get between anybody's legs. Well, children come from these unions, you know that, right? But when you have hip-hop fueling these mindsets on both sides, there's no chance for a home to have any kind of stability. Think about the distrust. Like, we in a civilization, in a culture where we can't even give each other our phones. That's the wildest thing. We can't even, you're married and or if you even venture to even dare to be married these days, you can't even give each other your phone because there's no trust, because you listen to some artists that do not know you at all, but you're living by their mantras and mindsets. So, and this has been going on for years now. So it's crazy. Like, we celebrated 50 years of hip hop recently. And what is it truly to celebrate when it comes to this commercialized form of hip hop that's branded now. Now you got some dope artists out there. And you got upcoming artists. Don't get me wrong. First of all, I love hearing dope music. I absolutely love hearing dope music. And I love hearing stories of overcoming. And I love hearing music on just, I love hearing the braggadocious music too, of self-identity of who I am and what's not going to stop me. I love hearing all that. I love hearing how I came through. I love hearing how I'm dangerous. I'm nothing to play with. Put into an articulate word form. But all this is not nothing new. Like, this is something we've been using words to fight each other before physicality for hundreds of years. It's supposed to be left on a track. Back in the day, they used to call it playing the dozens. We used to call it snapping on each other. Then you had your mama jokes, whatever. Now you got, the hip-hop beef, some of the greatest hip-hop beefs ever. It's not supposed to result in gun violence. It's supposed to result in showing your skill. But then you introduce the drill music where it's literally built off of murder and destruction, disrespecting dead homies. And we ain't even touch upon the gang culture of it all. So these are the pitfalls that we face as a people. And anybody speaking against it any other kind of way, then you have to understand that they are not emotionally or mentally or spiritually mature enough to take responsibility and accountability for who they are. So this is the reason why I felt like this content, this is just only a small section. I just wanted to start getting, really put this narrative out there. If you can go back and listen to other episodes that I've done and conversations and interviews that I've had, because all of this ties in together. The whole purpose of what I'm doing right now is to bring some kind of awareness and awakening to us individually, because if we started individually, then we can, as a people, as a culture, we can start to heal. But we first have to heal ourselves. And until we do that, we're going to be stuck in this perpetual cycle of destruction until none of us is left. And, and that's, I don't want to be responsible for not using the gift that I was given from God back to the people, back to each other. I want that. I want to be able to, whatever happens in the end, know that I put forth all efforts once I came to my understanding to make this world better and to replicate that through my children and my children's children. You know what I mean? So, instead of us being out here looking like clowns and buffoonery and cartoon characters, you know what I'm saying? So, don't devalue who you are because some artist made a hot track and you can't live up to that lifestyle. That's the most ridiculous thing that we can do as a people. We definitely have to do better. And I invite y'all in the comments, man. Holla at me. I don't know everything. I understand what I understand. I know what I know. And I want to give it to you guys so that we, can build as a community, as a people. So I welcome you to like, subscribe, visit godsfault.info. That's the website, rebuilding it. And just, leave comments. You can email me there at Nyjah, Nyjah at godsfault.info. Email me, those who are looking to do interviews, be on the podcast. I appreciate it. I'm going through emails now. But yeah, that's on the website too. You can communicate with me through there. And we just building, we looking to build a community where, we can thrive as a people and continue to get better and better each day. So I hope and pray that you got some real value out of this episode. And we looking forward to your comments in the comment section. And don't forget to follow us on all platforms. Links will be in the description. We out.